We've been hearing a lot about green energy, about hybrid cars, all-electric cars, lithium-ion batteries. What if there's another way to store electricity? Ultracapacitors. What are they? Well, they're actually being used already in China, and here to talk to us about it is Dan Yi, who is part of an effort here in the United States. You've kind of started a company. Tell me a little bit about, you're connected with a Chinese company that has actually developed a bus that uses these ultracapacitors. I think it's an interesting story, before we explain what an ultracapacitor is, how you saw this technology for the first time.
I was in Shanghai in 2006, and I was in a bus, and I noticed that this bus was an all-electric bus. And I thought, this is a great product. Why don't we have this in the United States? So I went and talked to the CEO of the company that manufactured this electric bus and say, can I license this technology from you and build this in the United States? So over the course of the next year, we worked out an arrangement with them in which we get the exclusive license to this technology.
This is a guy who had just passed the bar in Maryland and was out visiting his folks, and all of a sudden gets into this energy business. Let's talk a little bit about the technology, because what was unusual about the bus is they're using ultracapacitors, which I'm not sure how many of our audience really knows what they are. We know what a battery is and how it stores electricity, and ultracapacitor stores electricity too. How does it work?
So an ultracapacitor is a hybrid between a battery and a capacitor. So a
capacitor is basically two plates that stores electricity because it's opposite charges, right?
Yes. However, capacitor, the bottleneck is that it stores such a small amount of electricity, whereas for battery, there is a chemical conversion going on inside a battery in which stores electricity chemically. Ultracapacitor is a hybrid between the two, in which retains the advantage of both. An ultracapacitor has about 10,000 times more energy storage capacity compared to a capacitor. Also, an ultracapacitor can release energy very quickly. So for example, the state-of-the-art lithium-ion battery takes about 2 to 3 hours to charge, whereas an ultracapacitor, this time is shortened to minutes, if not seconds.
And it can release that energy very quickly. The problem is it doesn't hold as much electricity as the lithium battery or any other battery at this point, right?
Yeah, at this point, an ultracapacitor holds about 5 to 10% the energy a typical lithium-ion battery holds. And therefore, we're not looking to replace the lithium-ion battery at all. However, there are specialty applications in which the ultracapacitor can shine. And one of these applications is the electric buses.
And why? Explain how that works, because you're kind of a mixture of using the ultracapacitor and actually electricity that's available, right?
Yeah, so as you recall, one of the properties of ultracapacitor is that it can be quickly charged and discharged. So what we do is that we convert the typical bus station into an on-road charging station. So when a bus enters a bus station and people go on and off,
it's charging.
It's
like
charging.
Right then. Hooks up and it's getting electricity.
Yeah, there's an overhead charger, and the typical charge time is about 30 seconds. And with that 30 seconds of charging, it gives the bus enough electricity to go to the next destination.
And so the idea, if you were to use this in the United States, is you're going to have to convert a lot of bus stations, basically, right, or bus stops, to be charging stations.
Yeah, we will need to convert a lot of bus stops into charging stations. But if you look at the overall picture, the economics of this technology, in the long run, an ultracapacitor bus will cost a lot less compared to a conventional diesel bus, because over the lifespan of a vehicle, the diesel bus consumes more diesel than the cost of the entire bus. So the cost of converting these bus stations into charging stations is actually relatively small compared to the amount of fuel the vehicle takes over its lifetime.
You know, we do call this Ahead of the Curve. It is a technology show, and I want to talk a little bit about technology you're trying to add to this. MIT's done some research. Without getting too technical, tell me how that might dovetail in what you're trying to do with the ultracapacitor.
Yes, so Professor Joe Shindo of MIT has came up with a carbon nanotube technology. So right now, the amount of electricity that can hold in an ultracapacitor is proportional to the surface area of the electrode. And we're using this material called activated carbon at the moment. And activated carbon is a very porous material. However, the nanotubes of Professor Shindo has exponentially higher surface area. So we're hoping that this technology from MIT will be able to boost the energy density of the ultracapacitor by 200 to 500%.
So in essence, taking nanotubes, putting them on the plates so that they can hold a lot more juice when they stop and get charged up.
Exactly.
Well, you know, this is pretty interesting and exciting stuff. And for a guy who just rode a bus in Shanghai and saw the idea and is now actively trying to do it, how long do you think until we actually see a bus, a super ultracapacitor bus driving around the United States?
Well, we're designing them right now in the United States, and we're hoping to have our first prototype bus on the road by summer of 2010. And we should be able to mass produce them by either the end of next year or beginning of 2011.
And all the bus companies or the metros or whatever around, they have to figure out a way just to charge them at the bus stop.
Part of the job is for us to convince them that this is a safe technology, it's a mature technology, and most important, we can save them a lot of money by running buses on electricity.
Well, Danny, good luck with it, and congratulations on your efforts so far. We appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us.